Alright, so today we have on the channel the new U11 Mini 4K made by Ruko, and we're going to be opening it up, checking out what's inside of the box, and seeing what it's all about. Plastic covering. It comes in this nice zippered bag to keep it nice and protected. Alright, so here we have the storage case. So inside of the storage case, you are greeted with a quick start guide. You get your user manual. And then here's everything that comes stored inside of the case. Over here you have a card that guides you to all of the features and what button does what, etc. Over here you have two boxes. This box here, open it up. Right, this here is the battery. It's an extra battery. And in this box here, you have some accessories. Here, I believe, let me open this up and see what's inside. Here are two OTG cables. Here you have two USB-C to USB-A cables, and these are for charging the batteries, which I'll show you that in a bit as well. Here you have a screwdriver, some screws, and two extra joysticks. And here is just some extra propellers. Alright, so that's it for the accessories. Let's start off with the U11 Mini 4K. I'm going to remove the battery here. It has a foam to protect it. Alright, so looking at it right away, it's nice and sleek. Has a really cool design, as you can see. Let's start off with the camera itself. I'm going to remove the tape here. Alright. Alright, remove the cover very slowly. Kind of difficult to remove there, but so just be careful with removing that gimbal cover so that you don't break it. It's a 4K camera. It uses a Sony half-inch CMOS image sensor. I believe the lens is also Sony. It does have a field of view of 85 degrees, and the focal length is equivalent to a 25, I believe, 28 or 25 millimeter lens, if I'm not mistaken. It has a 3-axis gimbal, as you can see, so that's new. So you'll be able to get some really nice stabilized video from it. For photos, it does take photos up to, I believe, 4K resolution. But what's interesting about it is that they're stating that it can take 8K photos, 8,000 by 6,000 pixels, which is quite big. Now, I don't expect to get any professional quality out of it. I don't know why these budget companies do that, but I guess it's just a feature that's like, wow, 8K. But it does have it if you want to play around with it. What else? As for video, it shoots 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second, I believe. It doesn't have a 30 frames per second for 1080p, which is interesting. So you get 60 frames per second at 1080p, and at 4K, you get 30 frames per second, Unfortunately, you don't have the 60 frame per second option. Over here are your TOF time of flight sensors and the little optical flow camera. On this side here, you have a micro SD card slot, which accepts micro SD cards up to 250 gigabytes. Sorry. These motors are rated at 447 kV, and they have a maximum rotational speed of 3,400 RPM, which is pretty fast. And they do state that it is level 5 wind resistant, but for a sub 250 quad, I wouldn't recommend flying it in heavy winds anyway, as it can only handle so much. So keep that in mind. Well, you have two lights in the front. Once you start it up, you'll see that they'll turn blue. So it's pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna put that to the side. The battery over here, you see what it is. The battery here is a 2200 milliamp 7.6 volt, and this one is supposed to give you a max battery operating time of 32 minutes. Now we all know that a lot of these brands over exaggerate that, so I would put it at around 28 to 29 minutes maybe. And it is a smart battery, so it discharges itself after a while of no use. Over here is a USB slot, so you can charge it using the USB-C cable. All right, so here you have the remote controller. So you can see it's a pretty nice remote. It feels nice in the hands. It's very sturdy. It's not, doesn't feel like a cheap toy grade remote controller. It feels really good. So hopefully it works as good as it looks. All right, so let's start off with, over here you have the power button. Here in the middle are your speed switches. So you have Cine, normal, and sport. Keep it at normal. This button here is your return to home and a pause button. Over here you have two spring-loaded joysticks, which is nice. These two buttons here are new. This one is, I believe, the cruise control. So sort of like an autopilot feature. You press forward, let the quad go forward, and then you just tap on this button here, let go of the joystick, and it'll just continue on its own until you command it to stop by pressing the button again. Over here you have your GPS turn on and off button, and some of you might ask, why do I want to turn off my GPS button? Well, this is just for when you're indoors. If you want to fly it indoors, then you would press this once. It'll go into altitude mode, and then you can start the motors and fly it indoors. If you do not turn this off, it will not start the motors, and you will not be able to fly it indoors. So that's what that's for. On the top you have your camera's gimbal wheel or dial to tilt it up and down. On the other side you have your camera and video button. On the bottom is a USB-C slot to charge the remote, and two joystick storage slots here, which is pretty cool. A lot of these budget drones don't have a slot to store your joystick, so having that is pretty nice. And if you end up losing one or both of them, you have an extra set. Here is the extendable phone holder, and I believe it has a maximum width of 3.15 inches. So you could fit a lot of your phones here, from Androids to iPhones. You also have an OTG cable inside of it, which is pretty cool. So it stores the OTG cable really nice and neatly. And when you want to connect it to your phone, you just take it out like so, put your phone in and connect the cable. So that's a nice feature. All right, so as for the RC, it works with the new RK 2.0 video transmission system, and it is a 5.8 gigahertz video protocol. It does have a max range of around 20,000 feet, as they state, which is roughly a little bit over 6,000 meters, I believe. But again, just like the batteries, they always state that it goes, 20,000 feet, and probably you'll only get around 10,000. So, I mean, keep that in mind. It's never what they say, and that's the honest truth. So I don't see anything here on the back, but I read online that it does have an internal battery, 3.7 volt, 3000 milliamp hour, and it also is supposed to give you a max operating time of around 100 minutes. What else? It does take around 4 hours to charge, which is a long time to charge a remote, but these budget quads, it's normal for them to take that long to charge. As for the battery, I don't know how long it takes to charge. I'll have to try that out and let you guys know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set her up, show you how to calibrate it, get it started, and then we'll go ahead and look through the app, see all of its features, and then I'll take it up for a quick flight test and show you how she performs. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the battery. Make sure you have it nice and snug in there. You hear that click. And I'm going to turn on the power button and let the gimbal calibrate itself. While it's calibrating, you don't want to touch it. And you'll see that the gimbal moves left, right, up and down, and it's calibrating itself. You don't want to touch it. Just wait until it stops doing its calibration process, and then you can proceed to the next step. Now the next step you're going to do is you're going to turn this on, the remote, and it's going to start beeping, which is quite annoying, but that beeping is just letting you know that it's trying to search for the U11 Mini 4K, and once it finds it, it'll just have one steady beep letting you know that it's connected. There you go. So it took less than a minute to get it paired. And the motor start, and then you can just give it throttle up and it'll take off. All right, so let's go into the app and see what the app is all about. All right, so the sun is picking up here, so I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible. All right, I have my phone connected to the remote, as you can see. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the Roku U11 Mini. Actually, it's called Roku U11 app. And as you saw, it immediately opened. I have a video image feed. Now let me move the gimbal up and down. So the gimbal does work. So a little bit finicky. It's not that smooth. I wonder if you can make it smoother. I also notice it has a little bit of jerkiness to it. On the top here, where you have these three little dots, if you press that, those are all of your settings. You have beginner mode. I'm going to remove it from beginner mode. If you do have it in beginner mode, your flight distances are limited to 30 meters, your height to 30, and your return altitude to 20. So what you want to do is you want to turn that off if you're not a beginner. And you can change your flight distances and your height and whatever. On the bottom, it says note, return altitude shall not exceed flight height. Okay, so you can save your settings, which is nice. So if I put it at flight height at, I don't know, 80, and distance, I don't know, 2156, right? And my return to height, I put it at, let's say, 41. And I save that. Next time I open up the app, it should be saved already. On the bottom of that, you have your gyroscope calibration. And to do so, you just press the button and it's calibrating, and that's done. As for the compass calibration, those of you who are not beginners to this know it's just basically where you rotate the quad 360 and horizontally the same as vertical, and that's how you calibrate the compass. What else? What else? Nothing else here. Let's move on to the other settings. You have your SD card resolution. I don't have it here, so if I go back here, you'll see it says SD card not inserted. All right, so here we have your SD card resolutions, and you can also save that. So you have your 1080p at 60 frames per second, and you have 4K at 30 frames per second. You have watermarks, normal watermark and flight watermark. I don't want that. You have your units, metric, inches, meters per second, miles per hour. Recording, it actually records audio while you're flying. I'll turn that off. I don't care for the listening to the props. You have your voice prompt. So, if you turn that on, every time it has an error message or something, you'll hear the automated voice pop out. That's annoying, so I don't want that. You have your display flight route, which you can do that. I think that's for when you're doing waypoints or in general. Display prompt messages, I'll leave that on. And then this is pretty cool. You don't see this in a lot of budget quads. You see this in a little, more of the more advanced quads, and is your channel settings. So you can change the channel frequencies. Right now it's on 36. I'll leave it at 36 for now. But if you're having an issue in the area and there's a lot of radio frequency interference, then you can change to different channels to see if that helps. So that's actually really cool that this would have that at this price point. What else? Nothing else here? Nope. And here is your track record. So this is basically your flight records. All flight records, fine drone, and flight logs. I haven't done anything, so I don't have anything listed. All right, moving on. Next to those three dots is the battery indicator for the quad. As you can see, it's at 8.38 volts. Next to that, you have the battery indicator for the RC. It's at 96%. You have next to that the GPS signal, and we have full 5 bars, which is interesting because I'm between a lot of trees here, and we're at 12 sats, so that's not bad. Over here is a little compass. Down to the left, you have your takeoff button, you have your return to home button, and over here you have all of your intelligent or smart features, which is your GPS follow, image follow, point of interest, route rules. It's waypoints, I guess. They should have just put waypoints. Lens angle, your zoom out, gesture, detect gesture, quick shot, gesture record, music, switch from, so you can switch from vertical to horizontal, which is pretty cool. So let me see if I press that, you see it switches to a vertical view. So that's cool for those who, want to quickly film something for social media and just upload it. You can do that and put it back to horizontal. Okay, I don't know what happened there. You have VR mode, so I guess this works with goggles. You have your filters, so you can find a filter that suits your needs and do that. What else? And you have your alert. So this is, I guess, to find your, you see, it's starting to beep. I don't know if you could hear that in the background. Someone turned that off. So that's a cool feature. If you lose it and you don't know where it's at, you can just activate that if it's still connected, and you can easily find it by listening to that sound. On the bottom of that, you have your attitude ball and your maps. I don't have the map installed yet, but I will once we take off on the field. If I press that again, it'll go right back into the attitude ball. On the bottom middle, you have your distance, your height, distance speed and your vertical speed. And now it's starting to beep because I haven't done anything with it, and it's letting me know to hurry up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. On the right hand side, you have your photo button and your video button. So photo, you press that. So you can't take a photo and you can't record video until you take off, which kind of sucks. They should take that restriction off, because maybe I want to take a photo of myself while it's landed, so they should take that restriction off. On the bottom of that, you have the photo album, videos and photos. You have the SD card, videos and photos. All right. What else? Go back. And on the bottom of that, you have your pro settings manual. So I believe I have it on manual. No, it's on automatic. So that's nice that now you can control the camera, the camera's manual settings. So right now it's at 1500. So if I wanted to change that, I'll put it into manual, and now I can scroll to the desired setting. All right, so what do I honestly think about this quad? There's some things that I like about it and other things that I don't. So let's start with the positives here. As far as the camera, it does film decent looking video in 4K resolution, and the image stabilization is not bad at all. Although I did notice a few times that it would get slightly tilted horizon from time to time, which I think is most likely from the wind pushing it around a lot, so I'm not going to take away any points from it. Another positive is the transmission signal. It did give me a good solid signal the whole entire flight, and I didn't experience any issues with the image feed at all. And I did get it around, I don't know, 500 meters or so. So I'm actually very impressed by how it performed in that regard. Now, I'm not a distance flyer, so I couldn't tell you if it reaches the distance that they say it can, but from the looks of it, I think that it has the potential to go much further out than I did for sure. As for the flight time, I think I got around 23 minutes or so before the low battery return to home kicked in, but I did cancel it and flew it for another 2 minutes, so it gave me around, I would say, 25 minutes, I believe. The prop noise was pretty quiet to my surprise, so that's another thing that I liked about it. I also like the remote and how you can store the OTG cable underneath the phone holder, so it's not easy to lose it. And I also like that you can store the thumb rockers on the bottom of it. Now, there are some things that aren't so great. First of all, let's talk about the camera's manual settings, which are a hot mess. Not only do they not work well, but they have named the settings in a way that's completely confusing. For example, there's a USM setting, which is for sharpening the image, and a CR setting, which I believe is for changing the image contrast. Now, those of you who have DSLR cameras, you've noticed that your lenses have a USM feature on it, which stands for ultrasonic motors. And CR in the photography world stands for crop factor. So it's really confusing that they would label these settings that way without clearly stating what they stand for, which makes it very difficult for the user to understand what they actually do. Another negative are the joysticks. They feel nice when moving them around, but when you're actually using them to do any manual movements, they're just not up to par. I couldn't get it to do a proper manual orbit or any other manual movements using the sticks. I don't know, maybe they need to be calibrated or something, but as far as my experience with it, it wasn't enjoyable to use. Another thing that I noticed is that it does not like to be hand caught. I did try to gently catch it as it was landing, but once I grabbed it, the motors just started revving up like crazy, and I couldn't get it to turn off. Not even with the joysticks or flipping it quickly upside down. I had to actually keep it upside down for around 20 seconds until it finally shut itself off. So yeah, don't try to hand catch this one because it doesn't like it. As far as the smart features like follow me, visual tracking, etc., I tried to get these to work, but it was such a chore to get it to work properly that after several attempts, I just gave up on it. The only thing that actually did work for me was the vertical filming mode, but all of the others I just didn't even bother with, honestly. The last thing that I don't like about the U11 Mini 4K is the way the video and micro SD card is formatted. The format that they use is FAT32, which is for Windows, but you can read this format on a Mac as well. But in my case, I couldn't even get my Macs to read the card at all. I had to actually use a friend's Windows laptop to be able to open and extract the files, which really sucked for me. And the actual video codec that it uses is an MP4, which I usually can open and play on my Mac, but for another strange reason, I couldn't get it to play any of the files. So I had to convert them into another codec using a video converter, which was time consuming. So again, that sucked. So if you're a Mac user, keep all of this in mind if you plan on getting the U11 Mini 4K. Anyway, that's my take on it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed what you saw and that you were able to get something useful out of it. And before you leave, make sure you give it a thumbs up and feel free to hit the subscribe button as well. That's it for this one. May God bless you. and I'll check you out on the next one.